Most people fear being alone. But the truth is this: you cannot master life until you master yourself. We live in a world that rewards noise, speed, and constant interaction. But the Stoics knew something we've forgotten. Solitude isn't a punishment. It's a forge. It's the place where you strip away expectations, silence the outside world, and finally hear your own mind clearly. And for many of us, that silence is terrifying, not because it's empty, but because it reveals everything we've been avoiding. Yet within that discomfort is power. When you choose to be alone, intentionally and without fear, you reclaim the parts of yourself the world has been pulling away. You begin to understand what you truly value, what you truly want, and who you truly are when no audience is watching. In this video, we'll explore 6 Stoic truths about staying alone until you master yourself, and why this might be the most important chapter of your life. 1. Solitude reveals the truth. You've been avoiding. Silence exposes what noise has been hiding. Solitude is not emptiness. It is a mirror. Most people run from being alone because the moment the world goes quiet, their inner world becomes loud. Every insecurity, every unresolved emotion, every truth they've ignored for years begins to surface. That's why constant distraction feels comforting. Scrolling, talking, staying busy. Noise protects us from meeting ourselves. But the Stoics believe the opposite. If you avoid your inner world, you remain a stranger to your own mind. Solitude forces honesty. It strips away masks, roles, expectations, and the performance self you use in front of others. When you sit alone long enough, you confront the real you, the one who's tired, the one who's afraid, the one who wants more but doesn't know how to begin. And though this confrontation can feel uncomfortable, it's the very beginning of inner mastery. You cannot change a self you refuse to see. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter retreat than within his own soul." He wasn't telling us to escape the world. He was reminding us that clarity only comes when we retreat inward. Modern life makes this harder than ever. Notifications, expectations, and opinions constantly shape who we think we should be. But in solitude, you rediscover who you actually are when no one is influencing you. When you step away from external noise, you begin to hear your authentic desires. Maybe the path you're on isn't yours. Maybe the relationships you maintain drain you more than support you. Maybe the dreams you're chasing belong to society, not to your soul. Solitude doesn't create these realizations. It simply reveals them. This is why intentional aloneness is powerful. It gives you space to feel without interruption, to think without persuasion, to breathe without pressure. It allows your mind to soften, then sharpen. It allows emotional wounds to rise so they can finally be healed rather than suppressed. And most importantly, it allows you to recognize patterns you've repeated for years. Patterns of choosing the wrong people, staying in the wrong environments, or betraying yourself just to be accepted. When you practice being alone, not as punishment but as ritual, something transforms. Your thoughts slow down. Your emotions settle. Your intuition becomes louder than your fear. You stop needing the world to validate you because you begin validating yourself. You realize you don't need company to feel whole. You need clarity to feel powerful. True mastery always begins in solitude. Not when someone guides you, not when someone comforts you, not when someone tells you who you are, but when you finally sit with yourself long enough to know. And once you know yourself, no one can confuse you again. 2. Solitude separates your true identity from the noise of the world. You cannot hear your own voice if the world is always speaking for you. Silence is where your real identity begins. Most people never discover who they truly are because they are constantly absorbing the emotions, expectations, and beliefs of everyone around them. Family pressures shape one part of them. Social media shapes another. friends, co-workers, society. Each one adds a layer until the real self is buried beneath noise. That's why so many adults wake up one day wondering why their life feels foreign, exhausting, or misaligned. They've been following a script they didn't write. Solitude is the moment you stop acting and start listening. It is the pause between who you've been told to be and who you actually are. When you withdraw from the world even briefly, you begin to notice how many choices weren't truly yours. The job picked out of fear, the relationship maintained out of habit, the goals pursued for approval rather than purpose. This realization may feel unsettling, but it's also liberating. You finally see the difference between inherited identity and authentic identity. The Stoics believed that the world is full of distractions designed to pull you away from your nature. Epictetus warned, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. What he meant was simple. If you choose your own path, many people won't understand it. That's why solitude is essential. Without it, you become a reflection of the crowd rather than a creation of your own soul. In solitude, the noise fades and your inner compass reactivates. You begin asking deeper questions. What actually matters to me? What kind of person do I want to become? What would I choose if no one could judge me? These are questions only silence can answer. And the answers often reveal truths you've avoided. Maybe you've outgrown certain friendships. Maybe your goals were never yours to begin with. Maybe the life you're living is too small for the person you're becoming. Solitude shines a spotlight on every place where your authenticity has been compromised. But it doesn't stop at clarity. It also restores power. Because once you know yourself, you stop chasing validation. Approval loses its grip on you. You no longer surrender your energy to opinions that don't matter. Decisions become simpler because they follow your values, not your fears. You stop performing and start existing honestly. And honesty with yourself is the birthplace of confidence. Solitude is where you reclaim your inner authority. It is where your voice becomes louder than the world's opinions. It is where you learn to trust yourself more than the crowd. It is where you stop adapting to please others and start evolving to honor your truth. And once you experience that level of clarity, you realize something profound. You were never lost. You were simply drowning in noise that was never yours. Solitude didn't change you, it simply revealed you. 3. Solitude teaches you emotional mastery. Because no one else is there to carry your feelings for you. When you're alone, excuses disappear. Only your reactions remain. Most people believe they understand their emotions, but what they truly understand is how their emotions behave around other people. They know how they react when someone comforts them, when someone provokes them, when someone validates them, or when someone abandons them. But very few know how their emotions behave in pure solitude, with no audience, no reassurance, and no one to blame. That is why solitude is one of the greatest emotional teachers. It reveals how much control you genuinely have over your inner world. Emotional mastery is impossible if your peace depends on external conditions. If your mood rises and falls based on who texts you back, who praises you, who disappoints you, or who stays silent, then you are not in control. The world is. Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus taught that true freedom begins the moment you stop giving external events permission to dictate your inner state. In solitude, this truth becomes undeniable. Without people to trigger you or soothe you, you finally see the raw patterns of your emotional life. Solitude forces you to sit with your emotions rather than escape them. You notice how impatience rises when nothing is happening. You notice anxiety when thoughts have no distraction to hide behind. You notice sadness you thought you'd healed, resurfacing quietly. You notice anger that isn't directed at anyone, just stored inside you. At first, this feels uncomfortable, even overwhelming. But emotional discomfort is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that you are meeting parts of yourself you've avoided, and meeting them is the only way to master them. When you are alone, you learn emotional responsibility. You learn to pause instead of explode. You learn to breathe instead of spiraling. You learn to name your feelings instead of becoming them. You learn to calm your own storms instead of expecting others to rescue you. This is the foundation of emotional independence, one of the most powerful forms of strength a human being can possess. Because once you know how to steady yourself in solitude, nothing outside of you can easily shake you again. Solitude also teaches you the difference between real emotions and reactive emotions. Real emotions arise from your values, your truth, your wounds, and your needs. Reactive emotions arise from habit, the quick, conditioned responses that flare up when ego feels threatened. When you're alone, reactive emotions lose their fuel. There's no one to impress, defend against, or attack. What remains is the authentic emotional landscape you must understand to grow. Emotional mastery isn't about eliminating feelings. It's about learning how to guide them. In solitude, your emotions finally have the space to speak, and you finally have the quiet required to listen. And once you learn to command your inner world, the outer world no longer has the power to command you. 4. Solitude builds discipline, because no one is watching, guiding, or saving. Your discipline becomes real only when no one is there to witness it. Self-mastery begins the moment you stop relying on external pressure to move. Most people believe they are disciplined, but what they truly have is accountability dependence. They function well when someone is supervising them, when a deadline is close, when a partner is watching, or when pressure forces action. But when left alone, no reminders, no consequences, no applause. Their consistency collapses. This is why solitude is the ultimate test of discipline. It reveals whether you act from inner commitment or outer obligation. In solitude, there is no one to impress and no one to disappoint. Your choices become pure. Your habits become honest. Your character is revealed without performance. The Stoics believed that private victories create public strength. Marcus Aurelius wrote daily, not because anyone demanded it, but because he demanded it of himself. True strength is silent. True growth happens in the moments when no one is watching, and solitude gives you endless opportunities to meet or betray your own standards. When you spend intentional time alone, you begin to see where your discipline is fragile. You notice that comfort dictates more of your behavior than you admit. You notice how easily you abandon routines when accountability disappears. You notice how quickly excuses appear when no one else is enforcing your potential. But this awareness is not meant to shame you. It is meant to awaken you. Because once you see your weaknesses clearly, you can strengthen them intentionally. Solitude gives you the sacred space to rebuild your habits from the inside out. You start creating routines, not because society expects them, but because you expect them. You exercise without posting it. You read without telling anyone. You plan your life without announcing it. You work on your dreams quietly, consistently, and relentlessly. Over time, this private discipline becomes unbreakable. When no one is around, you are forced to command yourself. You choose to wake up early because your future deserves it. You choose to focus because distraction steals your purpose. You choose to act even when motivation is gone, because discipline, not emotion, is now your compass. The more time you spend alone, the less you need external validation to stay committed. Your actions become grounded in purpose rather than approval. Your consistency becomes a reflection of identity, not mood. And slowly, you transform from someone who tries to be disciplined into someone who is disciplined. Solitude is where you forge the version of yourself that the world will one day meet. It is where you build the habits, resilience, and focus that shape your destiny. And the discipline you develop alone becomes the foundation of every victory you will create in public. Master solitude, and discipline will stop being a struggle and start becoming who you are. Solitude shows you what and who no longer belongs in your life. When the world goes quiet, truth becomes loud. Solitude doesn't just reveal you, it reveals everything around you. Most people stay in the wrong environments far longer than they should. They maintain friendships that drain them, relationships that shrink them, routines that exhaust them, and dreams that no longer match the person they're becoming. But they stay because noise keeps them distracted. As long as life is busy, crowded, fast, and chaotic, you never have to confront the reality that some things and some people simply do not belong in your future. Solitude removes the blur. When you spend time alone, your emotional reactions become clearer. You begin noticing who leaves you feeling empty after every conversation, who only reaches out when they need something, and who never shows up unless there's something in it for them. You also notice which environments make you small and which ambitions no longer feel aligned with your spirit. Seneca once wrote, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you." In solitude, his words stop being philosophy. They become recognition. You start seeing the difference between people who elevate you, people who keep you stagnant, and people who quietly erode your self-worth. The clarity is uncomfortable, but clarity is what saves you from wasting years in the wrong places. When you are alone, patterns become impossible to ignore. You see how often you tolerate disrespect just to avoid loneliness. You see how many choices you made from fear of losing someone rather than love for yourself. You see how many times you abandoned your values to keep a connection alive. Solitude reveals the emotional price you've been paying to maintain relationships that were never healthy. And once you see the truth, you can no longer pretend you don't. This is why solitude is not isolation. It is purification. It cleans your environment, your heart, and your priorities. It shows you which relationships were built on genuine connection and which were built on convenience, dependency, or habit. It teaches you the difference between people who walk with you and people who drain the strength from your steps. Solitude also expands your standards. Because once you learn to enjoy your own company, you no longer accept anyone who disrupts your peace. You no longer negotiate with toxicity. You no longer bend your identity to keep people close. When being alone becomes comfortable, choosing the wrong person becomes impossible. This shift isn't loud, it's quiet, steady, powerful. You simply stop chasing, you stop explaining, you stop overextending, you stop accepting the bare minimum. Instead, you begin choosing relationships based on alignment rather than fear. You begin valuing depth over distraction, loyalty over convenience, intimacy over noise. You begin recognizing that solitude isn't the absence of love. It is the filter that ensures only the right kind of love enters your life. Solitude doesn't just remove what's wrong, it makes space for what's right. And until you clear the old, the new cannot enter. 6. Solitude prepares you for love, work, and life. Because mastery must come before connection. You cannot build a strong life on an unstable self. Solitude is not delaying your future, it is preparing you for it. Many people rush into relationships, careers, friendships, and commitments before they truly understand who they are. They look for love before learning emotional stability, seek success before learning discipline, and chase purpose before discovering their values. The result is predictable: exhaustion, heartbreak, confusion, and the constant feeling of being lost. Not because life is cruel, but because foundation always comes before construction. Solitude is where that foundation is built. When you learn to stand firm alone, you stop collapsing under pressure. You stop attaching your identity to people who may leave, to outcomes you can't control, or to external validation that comes and goes unpredictably. Solitude teaches you to source stability from within, to become emotionally grounded, mentally clear, and spiritually anchored. This is the version of you that can handle love without losing yourself, ambition without burning out, and adversity without breaking. Stoic philosophy makes this truth timeless. No man is free who is not a master of himself. Freedom is not the absence of responsibility. It is the ability to face responsibility without being ruled by fear, insecurity, or chaos. Solitude gives you this power because it forces you to confront your weaknesses instead of outsourcing them. When you master yourself alone, you no longer demand that others complete you, save you, or stabilize you. Self-mastery transforms relationships. You stop choosing partners out of loneliness and start choosing from alignment. You stop tolerating disrespect because you no longer fear being alone. You stop shrinking yourself to keep the peace because you've built peace within. You stop chasing people who take you for granted because solitude has taught you your worth. When you enter love from strength, not desperation, you experience a completely different kind of connection, one grounded in boundaries, mutual respect, and emotional maturity. Solitude trains you to bring clarity instead of chaos, purpose instead of confusion, and stability instead of neediness. It creates a version of you that enriches relationships instead of collapsing inside them. Self-mastery also transforms your work. You approach goals with focus, consistency, and resilience. You stop relying on motivation and start relying on discipline. You stop fearing failure because you've already faced your inner battles in solitude. You develop the mental endurance required for long-term success, not just short bursts of effort. And most importantly, solitude transforms the way you navigate life. It teaches you that peace is a skill, confidence is a practice, and clarity is earned through quiet reflection. It teaches you how to remain centered in storms, how to make decisions from reason rather than impulse, and how to walk your own path without needing the world's permission. When you master yourself alone, you become unstoppable with others. You become the person who builds healthy love, meaningful work, and a life guided by purpose instead of fear. Solitude doesn't hold you back. It strengthens you for everything you are meant to become. 7. The 7-Day Solitude Mastery Ritual. Rebuilding yourself. From the inside out, transformation doesn't begin with a crowd. It begins in the quiet, where your future self is forged. Most people talk about changing their life, but very few create the conditions for change to actually take root. They keep the same noise, the same routines, the same people, the same distractions, and hope something inside will magically shift. But the Stoics understood a deeper truth. Inner evolution requires intentional withdrawal. Not isolation, not abandonment, but a structured return to the self. That's why this 7-day ritual is powerful. Each day is designed to peel back a layer that noise has been covering and reconnect you with the core of who you are. Day 1. Silence. Spend 1 hour with no talking, no music, no phone. Just breath and awareness. At first it feels uncomfortable, but eventually the mind begins to settle. You start noticing thoughts you've ignored and emotions you've postponed. This is the foundation of clarity. Day 2. Journaling the self. Write without editing. Everything you feel, fear, desire, or question. Let it spill onto the page. This is how you uncover patterns, wounds, and dreams you've abandoned. Writing reveals what thinking alone cannot. Day 3. Digital fasting. Disconnect from the digital world for a full day. No social media, no endless scrolling, no artificial stimulation. You will be shocked by how still your mind becomes and how naturally your real desires rise to the surface when algorithms stop steering your attention. Day 4. Values mapping. List the 5 values that define the person you want to become. Integrity, discipline, peace, honesty, growth, or anything that aligns with your deeper self. Then examine your life and ask, where am I living these values and where am I betraying them? This exercise creates alignment between who you are and who you intend to be. Day 5. Emotional labeling. Sit with your emotions instead of suppressing them. Name them: sadness, anger, fear, longing, disappointment. Naming reduces intensity. Understanding reduces shame. Acceptance builds mastery. Emotional literacy is a cornerstone of self-control. Day 6. Voluntary discomfort. Do something difficult deliberately. A cold shower, a long walk, a challenging workout, a difficult conversation with yourself. When you choose discomfort, you train your mind to stop retreating from difficulty. This builds resilience and inner strength. Day 7. Rewrite your life blueprint. With a clear mind and a steady heart, write the life you want to build. Relationships, habits, identity, purpose, standards. Not based on fear, not based on pressure, but based on truth discovered through solitude. This becomes your new compass. By the end of these 7 days, you won't just feel different, you will be different. Solitude will no longer feel intimidating. It will feel empowering, grounding, clarifying. Because you will finally understand the person you are becoming is shaped by the time you spend alone. In the end, everything we explored comes down to one truth. Solitude is not a punishment. It is preparation. It is where honesty replaces illusion, where discipline replaces distraction, where emotional strength replaces dependence, and where clarity replaces noise. You saw how solitude reveals your true identity, sharpens your emotional mastery, strengthens your discipline, filters out the wrong people, and prepares you for love, work, and life in a way nothing else can. And with the 7-day ritual, you now have a practical path to begin your own transformation. But none of this matters unless you take action. Choose one practice from this video and start today. Even 10 quiet minutes alone can shift the direction of your inner world. Mastery isn't built in a crowd. It's built in the moments when you courageously face yourself. Thank you for spending this time with me and for choosing to invest in your inner growth. Your presence here means more than you know. I hope the insights in this video guide you toward a deeper, stronger, more grounded version of yourself. Take what you've learned, apply it, and return stronger. I'll see you in the next video.